Live radio is so much fun. As advertised, we have CK from NorCal Bottle Shops with us.
Hello, hello, hello.
Barely.
Yeah.
You got a flat tire on the way?
No!
yeah.
Oh my gosh!
He literally, we did the Back to the Future, plug this thing in as we're coming. If you're watching on Rad TV, you saw the chaos in the main
Did you have to
studio.
get him to like pump it and
Oh,
crank
no,
it or
I
whatever
had
and
to
change
call-
it yourself? Okay.
Had to call
Side of the road, and you gotta. Okay.
Oh my gosh!
And Colby from Frey Ranch. Hey, Colby.
Hey, this is dream come true. Thank you.
Stop it.
This is awesome.
You need to dream bigger. No, I'm just kidding.
You were talking during the commercial break. I just tell Don, you've been listening for 15 years?
Oh, forever.
That's
How
amazing.
long have you guys been on the air? Like,
Well, in Reno's, this version of the show since 1998.
yeah, and I mean, I remember being a teenager listening to you guys
Wow.
in Reno, and then I think you moved to Arizona, and then, right, Arizona?
It was actually, we moved here and then Seattle and then back here.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I just remember moving somewhere, and then they filled you with somebody else, and I was like, what the hell,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. We drop. Yeah, there's all
And
sorts of
radio.
drama there.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, and no, tell us about your ranch. Family owned, family run, real ranch. What? Tell us about Frey.
Yeah, so my family's been farming in northern Nevada since 1854. Nevada didn't become a state until 1864,
Oh my God,
10 years
I love
later.
that.
And the whole idea is that we grow 100% of the grains that are in all of our whiskeys. And with anything, with better inputs, you end up with better outputs. And so that 165 years of knowledge really allows us to grow the best quality grains that we can make the best possible whiskeys with. And so there's very few distilleries in the world that actually grow their own grains.
And
so
you mentioned you've been farming, and you're still a working farm. What else do you
Yeah.
outside of the whiskey? What else do you do?
So we grow the wheat, rye, barley, and corn for the whiskeys, and we also grow a lot of alfalfa. Right now there's maybe 1,500 sheep on the ranch.
Oh.
So it's really good. We got to grow alfalfa. It's a rotational crop. It really helps the soil and helps it. You know, you just don't always want
Do
to
you
grow
hear
grain,
that,
and so it's really
environmentalist?
good. Yeah.
Helps the soil.
Shut up, Don. We're having fun. Now we've had the pleasure of being out there a few times. Can people, and just normal people, not like huge radio celebrities, can normal people come out and visit?
Yep. So we're open every Saturday from noon to 4 for the general public. So we'd love to see everybody come out there and enjoy the ranch like we do.
We got a note from Austin knowing you were going to come on. He said, I had a question for Colby. Will you guys be doing tours in the next coming weekends? I would love to visit.
Yep. So every Saturday, noon to 4, it's free tastings, free tours. And
Free
you can buy stuff.
tastings?
Yep.
Nice.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a Nevada thing.
That's how we roll. Yeah.
Get away with that. Do they need appointments?
Nope, no appointments
Do you take
necessary.
appointments?
Usually, I mean, if there's more than 20 people, we like to have an appointment, but you don't need
Yeah,
one.
that'd be nice.
So this is the second time we've done a barrel pick with you guys and with CK from NorCal Bottle Shops. Is that something that anyone can do? Can anyone get access?
Not really. They're super, like, the demand for single barrels is crazy right now. We're only going to do maybe 80, but I mean, the list is like 200 and something long. So
Whoa.
we
Dang.
really try to work with the people who support us, you know, the CKs of the world. And that's who we really want to, you know, the only people we can work with, you know.
So the primary people that get to do this are the people that then bring it to us, the CKs of the world, distributors, store owners.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, when we do a single barrel, you got to buy the whole barrel. So it's like 200 bottles a lot of times. And so.
Damn.
So the regular run of the mill Frey Ranch that we get on the store shelves, not the rye, just the regular. How is that made? Is that just like a bunch of barrels are dumped in and
Yeah, so that's a blend of about 100 barrels. So what we'll do is we'll take down 100 barrels, blend them all together, and that's our batch. And so I think we're on batch 7 or 8 right now, and so every batch is about 100 barrels. Then we proof it down to 90 proof. But the single barrels, like the ones that we're going to try today, are all barrel strength. And so they're all different. And we've had all the way down to about 118 proof, all the way up to we just had our first hazmat. Hazmat is anything over 140. And so we just had our first hazmat barrel. And so it's,
didn't we come close with our last one? Wasn't our last one?
Last one was 130, almost 135.
So that's close.
Yeah.
I thought 118 sounded high, but that was
It
the
is.
low.
yeah, that's low. Yeah.
So the regular one, when you say it's like 100 barrels, is it just all dumped in, or are you like tasting, or like is it the like for wine people, is that like a Merlot? Like you're just blending everything together?
Well, not necessarily. So like Merlot is a type of grape, so they're all bourbon.
I'm sorry, man. You're right. I meant like a Meritage, where it's just like a blend of all together.
Kind of, that's what it is, and it's a blend. And so we'll taste through every single barrel. And normally what we'll do is we'll pull down maybe 120, 130 barrels, and then me and Russell, our master distiller, will taste every single barrel.
Tough job.
Yeah, well, that's
and then
awful.
yeah, I know. Sometimes it's super fun, but sometimes you're like, damn it, I really. Or, I can't
You
say
can say
that.
damn
Sorry.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it,
Maybe we don't want to drink at 7:00 in the morning or something like that, but we got to
Why?
get it done. You know.
Why?
Like,
That's what
yeah.
you call Rob.
Yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
drink at 7.
CK and I are happy to step in.
Anytime.
All right, we'll
happy
put
to
you guys to
volunteer.
work. Yeah, yeah. So we taste all 130 barrels, and then we kick out our favorites for different reasons. Now, they're not necessarily like the absolute best barrels, but they might be super fruity or super oaky or super something special about them, and those go into our single barrel program. And then all the other ones get blended together, and they're pretty consistent when you blend 100 barrels together, from batch to batch. And so that's our normal stuff.
You've ruined whiskey for me. Just your regular whiskey is. I've got a giant. It's a bookcase actually at home of all whiskey. $300, $400, $500 bottles. None of them are as good as your basic day-to-day whiskey.
Oh, thank
You piss me off, man.
Wow.
It's like, oh, I want something special. Well, I guess I'll have Frey again. It's extraordinary. It really is.
I think that just shows you that starting off with better quality grains, that 165 years of knowledge on what to do and how to do it, and then a lot of times in agriculture, what not to do. So, that being passed on from generation to generation lets us start off with better quality, ingredients to start off with.
So for this barrel selection, this is the one that the maggots will remember if you're a member or if you've heard about us talking about it. If you go to members.radradio.com, you go to Rad TV and some of our extra features there. This is the one where on the way home, Kyle passes out in the
I was napping.
nappy.
Napping.
Oh my
And
God.
had a hard time walking after the nap.
So we had Kyle was there. We brought Kyle's dad, who contributes to this show occasionally. My buddy Tony, Brandon was there, and my wife was there. CK was there, and then we have your team. You were there. We got Ashley was involved in this one. Your wife.
My wife, Ashley, yep.
Is she feeling okay? Is she sick? Is that why she's not here? Or?
No, she's okay. She just had like a minor thing at the doctor this morning, so nothing major.
Didn't mean to get
Okay.
personal.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she-
Yeah.
and Chris. And what is Chris's title, by the way?
So he is. We kind of call him a brand ambassador, but he's more like a market manager, and he's local. I mean, he doesn't live that far down the road from here, and so he works with CK all the time and is kind of our lead with CK. Yeah.
And Russell, who is such a character.
Yeah.
You get us all in a room, and how do you choose the 6 barrels that we start with?
So Ashley has a whole a master list, and what she does is she tries to pick one. We have notes on every barrel.
She kind of runs the place, right? She keeps it
she's
running.
Super
Yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, she's a woman.
Right, typical.
Obviously, I'm glad you noticed that.
Rule the world.
Yeah. So there's a list of barrel, like a master list, and she'll try to pick out ones that are different. So she'll try to pick out a fruity one, a really maybe one with a special mouthfeel that's really creamy, or she'll try to pick out a spicy one or whatever. And that way you guys kind of get to pick and choose what you like. We don't want to give you 6 barrels that all taste the same. Otherwise, that's no fun, right?
And then so I'm sorry, I was just distracted by this email from Wendy saying Colby is mesmerizing me with his beautiful blue eyes and his sweet smile.
Oh man, thank you.
You get the Rad TV effect now and then.
He's taken.
So we get you can still give him a compliment.
I know.
So we take these 6 barrels, you pour them in, we all sit down, and then we start tasting. And do you have an advisory for people that are doing this, or is it just see if you like anything?
It's funny how we've done a lot of these and how different people are. So we've had some groups that are no talking. They sit there and they take their notes, they'll taste them, and they're hiding their notes from everybody
very
else. It's
serious.
this is serious. Don't mess with us. And then some people, everybody's talking and saying this one I like because of this, and they're talking it through. And some of them want us to help them say what they like, and some of them are say no, I don't want to be influenced. And so it's really crazy how different it is.
So in other words, we're your favorite group.
Oh man, it was fun. Yeah.
I mean, because there's a middle ground there.
Yeah.
You can have fun, and there is a reason why, especially in our group, but the group I just defined, there's a reason why maybe no one needs to know right away what CK thinks or what I think. We don't want people going, oh, well, if the boss says that, or if the expert says, or if Colby, oh my God, because then they might go, oh, I guess I don't like this.
Yeah.
But you don't have to sit there in silence. And,
No, yeah.
I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
That sounds like no fun at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are you there?
So because it's very serious work.
It's whiskey.
Yeah, no, it's very serious. So usually the way this works is we go through the 6 of them. We eventually do share our thoughts. We may or may not have like kind of okay, everybody's leaning towards this one, and even if it's that, then you always insist on this blind tasting.
Yep.
Where you make us all leave the room and we come back and there's 2 or 3 now sitting there instead of 6. And I guess you have had people who have been adamant, I know this is the one, and then they change their mind.
Yep. And so that way it takes all your preconceived notions away. You know, you're trying them, and you don't really know what you're tasting, and that way you're kind of starting fresh again.
So after we did that on this particular visit, half the room was split. There was one barrel that half the room was like, this is the one, and so we did them. This is it, and then half the room was like, no, it's this one. And they were not the same.
Yeah.
They were totally different flavor profiles. And eventually we got to the point where you were gracious enough to say, well, we'll do them both. And so we came up and see what happens.
Yeah, that's never happened before. So.
Oh my God, that's so special.
We have a history of doing things like this. I didn't want to really say what happened, that we basically strong-armed you into doing this, but I think it was Chris who ultimately had to remove his spine and hand it to CK in the end, or something like that.
Yeah. We gave Chris an allocation of barrels, and so he had to concede in.
Well, we appreciate it.
I also think this is like so helpful for people and beneficial in the aspect of like they might just think like all whiskey's the same, and this clearly shows like no, it is. It's very diverse and complicated, and it's not just let's just shoot this whiskey and get drunk.
What does seem to be, now that we've been doing this, and I've cheated on you a little bit, Colby. I've done this with a few other people with CK. It does seem, though, Dawn's absolutely right. It does seem that people have similar palates. It's like CK and I and Chris seem to be very much in line, which doesn't mean that Brandon and I can't enjoy similar whiskeys, but he seems to go a different direction, and so does my wife. But we seem to stay that while there's different flavors, like Dawn said, there seem to be people who have similar things they're attracted to. Have you noticed that?
No, I noticed that 100%. I think you're right, and it doesn't mean that the other whiskeys aren't good.
Yeah,
it's just your flavor palate. It's your palate.
Right.
It's how you like.
But it does mean that CK and I are better and smarter.
Hey, no.
That's all.
We've been doing this for years.
So because of that, now you can imagine since we all had plenty of alcohol in us at this point, a little bit of that smack talk started.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which is where we came up with the idea to do. Well, fine. We'll do both barrels, and we'll do a bottle of Brandon and Christina's favorite,
and everyone loves them.
and we'll do a bottle of Rob and Kyle and CK's favorite, and we'll sell them both. And we'll see what people say after they've tried them. So that's the idea that we came up with. So first of all, this is at 10 a.m. this morning at NorCalBottleShops.com. They go on sale. Are we doing a special if they buy both bottles, CK, or how's this working?
So if they're buying both bottles, there will be a special on them. But we're going to combo these out with the regular bourbon as well. So people will have a chance to try their regular bourbon and the barrels.
So we already had somebody write in who this morning was on the website at NorCalBottleShops.com, and I guess it's already there, and he clicked it, and he's like, oh, I can't buy it until 10 a.m., but it's right there when they go to NorCalBottleShops.com.
Yes.
So they'll buy it, and then you can pick it up at Folsom, Rockland, or Marysville in person, but you will ship it as well,
Yes.
right? But you do have to buy it right now, and it'll be available early next week?
Early next week.
Okay, so
He's probably still sitting there waiting.
it keeps refreshing. Maybe they'll do it early. Maybe they'll do it early. Maybe they'll do it. All right, so we're gonna taste the two bottles.
Yep. So I got them right
All
here.
right, we're gonna start with who are we gonna start with?
So this one I think is your pick.
Okay.
So this is barrel number 1304. It is 133.22 proof. So be careful, Don.
This is mine?
Yeah. This is.
I just feel it'd be so hard to choose because you have CK and Rob who are like, CK's like an expert and Rob's like an expert at drinking, whatever.
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
By the way, CK's an expert at drinking too.
Yeah,
But
that's about it.
It's his career.
There's never been a time that I've been with CK and we haven't been drinking. Ever.
Yeah.
Even our very first meeting.
Yeah. That's how we start.
So, how much, Colby, do these things change from the day that we were in your? But what was that? June? When were we there?
Oh man, it was quite a while ago, probably June.
Okay, so from that day, and is that about right? It takes 5 months or so from the time you pick until you get it into a bottle?
Yeah, there's a lot when it goes through distribution and everything else. It doesn't take us a long time to bottle them, but then we send them to our distributor, and sometimes it takes them a while to pick it up. So, but
how much does it change?
It doesn't change a lot because we bottle it right away. But the only thing that we lightly filter, we don't chill filter it. So chill filtering is when you actually cool it and it coagulates a little bit and it filters out the stuff. We don't do that. We just lightly filter it, and it almost takes the edge off. Like it just rounds it a little bit, and that's about the only change that you'll see.
So I have to, as a wuss, the smell is not offensive at all. It's a very lovely smell. That's usually my first because I'm such a wuss.
And can you, because this is what you've always been, you've admittedly bad at, but what do you smell? Is it, do you get a flavor profile of any kind? Like, do you smell caramel?
Saddle? I don't know.
Saddle. Okay.
I've never heard saddle before. That's a new one.
But it gets us closer to a flavor profile.
So I remember
leather.
tasting, this was one we picked, right?
Yes.
This is the you and me. Okay, so I remember it having a butterscotch taste to it, but now that I'm smelling it, I'm getting very heavy notes of vanilla and cream. Like it's very soft, almost like milky.
How did I smell that?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't smell bad.
No, it honestly
smells lovely. I'm like not used to that.
It is. How long you been drinking, Colby?
Oh man, I don't want to say how long it's been. So longer than I should.
Decades.
Yeah.
And you would agree. It is. There is a process to it. There's a process of growing your palate.
It is. Yeah.
And getting used to it.
And as you practice more, you can handle the high proof stuff. So the high proof stuff, everybody kind of starts at the 80 proof, 90 proof whiskeys, and then as you drink more, you can handle the high proof. And a lot of the whiskey connoisseurs like the high proof because it's more concentrated, it's more flavorful, and so they can handle that high proof. And so it's to them it's better, but not to everybody. And that's one thing. It's what you like, not. There's no whiskey that's the best. It's what the best whiskey is, the whiskey you like.
Total coincidence. My wife and I had a whirlwind beginning to our romance, and literally a month into dating, she was already long gone and living in Dallas, but we spring breaked where spring breakers go, Pittsburgh, and we took a tour, Pennsylvania. Yeah, we took a tour of a distillery, and we had a good time, but whiskey not her thing, and for years. She wouldn't drink whiskey in cigar bars or anything. And we started in about a year and a half ago, and she started to get into it. And ever since we went the first time to Frey Ranch, now we're sitting on the sofa, and she's like, "Babe, will you get me a whiskey? Just pick one." and you've seen at the tastings how she's gotten into it, and she gets it, and she's not afraid to speak to it, and because that's part of the evolution. Yeah. If you put it into it.
See, I think it's just, I'm Sicilian and we're the trash of Italy. And I think, bread to not be refined. Because, even when we, would do wine tastings, back when I would drink a lot of wine, everyone else is like, "Oh, I taste the oak," or whatever, right? And I'm like, I just know that tasted terrible, right? Like, that was dirt. Or I just never could, taste. Maybe there's a part, some kind of refinement you have to your palate or something to finally get it. I don't know. Do you see people get it over time?
Yeah, but a lot of people, some people just won't get it. There's funny because there's some genes, and I can't really explain it right off the top of my head, but there's genes that people have that taste certain things. And so, there's some bottles that you said you tasted dirt. And it's funny because there's actually a gene that makes some whiskeys taste like dirt. There's a certain
that was with
compound
wine. I haven't yet
maybe
with,
it's wine
with whiskey,
too,
but, yeah.
But you might grow into it, you might not, but it's fun. But a lot of times women's palates can actually pick out more of the distinct flavors than the guys can.
Hey, Brandon, do you remember, because we haven't tasted them yet, do you remember offhand why you liked your bottle that we haven't tried yet more than this one? Is there something wrong with this one?
No, absolutely not. In fact, I would have to taste the second bottle in order to really give you a definitive answer, but it was such a hard choice. And I think there was something about the second bottle that might be a little bit more smoky, because
love the smoke.
That's typically where my palate goes to, is the more smoky flavor.
Let's give this first one a try. Okay, I remember all this. Yeah. I saw you took a sip, CK.
Yeah.
It still holds up for you?
Oh, yeah. No, this is, phenomenal.
Excellent flavor. Now,
Damn.
You said, you and I were talking last week when we were drinking, having a meeting at Rock Bottle Shop.
Yep.
You said that the last Rad Radio Frey Ranch bottle that we did, the single barrel selection, is the best in your career.
Yeah.
Of
That
all.
was phenomenal.
Dang.
Of all.
Wow.
I mean, this year alone, I think we've picked about 18 barrels, and I'm still hands down. I got one bottle left. I'm just literally looking at it and getting drunk off of it. Don't even want to drink it because it's so good. It is so good.
I mean, we're only a couple sips into this. This is pretty damn good.
This is good. But, I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, the people that have bought the last bottle, they'll be able to compare it. And I guarantee you they will all say that was the top of the top.
So, Kyle, are you getting butterscotch at all in this one? Or,
Yeah.
So I got a little caramel, too.
Yep, a little hint of caramel, butterscotch, a little bit of brown sugar.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's
very
amazing.
sweet. Like, you get over the initial burn because it is 133 proof. Don't get me wrong. It's gonna burn a little in the throat, but as soon as it mellows out, that's all you taste is the smooth caramel, sugary deliciousness.
Brandon, are you getting...
Yes, all of the above. In fact, with the last barrel pick that we had, I enjoy regularly, but I like to have it with over ice because I feel like it kind of cuts the burn a little bit more. This, no ice needed. It is so smooth. It goes down so well. I love this one.
Interesting.
Yeah, you could definitely have this one neat. I mean, there's no need to put even ice in this.
We've talked about that before, though. In the end, we're not that guy who says you're not a real drinker if you're putting it over. What about you, Colby? Do you? I mean, you're the guy making this stuff. Do you insist that people drink? Is there a right way or a wrong way?
No, not at all. I drink it how you like it. It's everybody's different. Everybody likes different tastes, different flavors, everything. Drink it how you like it. I like to taste everything neat just so you kind of know what you're drinking and then put an ice cube in it. Ice is kind of cool because as it melts, it lowers the proof as that
Right.
ice is melting, and it actually tastes different at different as the proof's going down. But I personally, I just like to drink everything neat, but that's not the way I'm telling everybody to drink it. Drink it how you like it.
What do you think of this bottle now that you've tasted it?
Oh,
again?
I really like it. And one of the things that I really noticed when I taste this is the creamy mouthfeel. So, like, sometimes you put whiskey in your mouth and it tastes really dry. It's almost like it's evaporating immediately when you put it in your mouth. Well, this one tastes a little bit like it's creamy, like it's got that texture to it, which I really like.
Yeah.
What about you, Dawn? Have you tried it yet?
Well, so you have to know going in, like, I very rarely even drink at all.
Nobody's perfect.
When I do, I'll drink, right? But, like, I just don't normally. But so I'm going to be a wuss. So it goes down, so it hits my mouth smooth. It's very, like, I don't have taste for you.
Wow, that's big
But, like,
for you.
No, it hits my tongue and mouth smooth, and then I feel the burn later. Yeah. And then now I just feel really warm on the inside.
By the way, we got an email from Bradley. It says, question for Colby, on average, how long is each barrel aged?
So that's a good question, and it depends. Like, sometimes we'll throw in like 4.5-year-old barrels, and sometimes we'll throw in 6.5-year-old barrels. And it's funny how sometimes the 4.5-year-old barrels people will pick over the 6.5-year-old barrels or 7-year-old barrels. And I really think the longer the whiskey stays in the barrel, the more that oak masks the grain flavors. And so my goal when we started was to showcase the grains that we're growing on the farm. The longer it stays in the barrel, the less of that grain flavor you're actually tasting as it ages, because it's getting taken over by oak. So sometimes the 6.5 is really good, 7-year-old's really good, but sometimes the 4.5 is just as good or better.
Are you guys able to stick around through a break and we'll taste the other one on the other side?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, Lisa says, if you order both bottles, is there a bundle option I can choose, or do I add each bottle to my cart individually?
Each bottle individually.
That'll be at norcalbottleshops.com.